He just needs to learn how to be a horse again. Old and broken down horse trainer Tom Smith made this comment about the legendary racehorse Seabiscuit in the movie of the same name. Seabiscuit was considered too small, too lazy, and too unmanageable to be a winning racehorse, despite his impeccable pedigree. All that was before Tom Smith hired a jockey with a similar temperament and then trained them both. Early on in the training, Smith watched the two run kind of haphazardly around the racetrack and commented, "He's so beat up, it's hard to tell what he's like. I can't help feeling that they got him so screwed up running in a circle, he's forgotten what he was born to do. He just needs to learn how to be a horse again." Today we remember, honor, bless the animals that have meant and still continue to mean so much to us. We do so as we wrap up the liturgical season of creation that we've been working through for the past month with the themes of pray, learn, act, and advocate. Today we bless in the spirit of St. Francis of Assisi. To bless is to acknowledge the divine spirit present in every living thing, each one of us and all of creation. It is to remember who we are. It is perhaps easiest, I think, to bless the animals that we love so much, to see the Spirit of God in them, because they so easily love and forgive, even adore us, no matter what kind of person we have been that day. Our animals show us the love of God in ways that can be harder, maybe in the human world. We tend to get so messed up running in circles that we forget what we were born to do. Maybe just by being their animal selves, our pets show us how to be human again. Saint Francis of Assisi inspires our celebration today, and he's the Christian saint who is most recognized for his connection with creation. St. Francis had a vivid sense of the sacredness of all creation. As one biographer wrote, "For Francis, all things, whether living or inanimate, reflected their Creator's love and were thus due reverence and wonder." Stories abound of St. Francis befriending animals, rescuing or communicating with them. One of the most famous stories told of Francis's life of ministry is that he preached to the birds. One day, as he was walking with companions in the countryside, he came upon a number of birds in the tree, and he approached them filled with awe and asked them if they would stay a while and listen to the word of God. And he went on to preach them a sermon. St. Francis was also much more than a lover of creation. He was raised in a wealthy family and lived a life of privilege and indulgence until a chance encounter with a leper and a vision of a renewing the church convinced him to renounce the privilege of his upbringing and choose instead a life of service to the poor. Others soon joined him, and the order of the Lesser Brethren, or the Friars Minor, commonly known as the Franciscans, was born. Then as the Franciscans became recognized and accepted as part of the institution of the church, St. Francis moved on again to return to his simple life of service with the poor in the company of the creatures he loved so much. And I'm sure that through it, St. Francis would say that the sacrifices he made that make him such a venerated saint was just him doing what he was called to do. His version of simply being a follower of Christ, of doing what he ought to do, like the story Jesus tells us today in the gospel. In our acts of blessing today, we too do what we ought to do. Witness the blessing of God in all creatures and for all creatures. And in this special moment, we acknowledge, remember, honor, and celebrate the animals in our lives, past and present.